Hey everybody, what if I told you that there's a weapon in Helldivers 2 that doesn't just kill enemies, it lets them die after you've already moved on? Today, we're breaking down the AR-2 Coyote, one of the most talked about assault rifles in the game. Now, this weapon has been called the best rifle in the game, it's a fan favorite, and at one point, some players were literally begging the devs not to nerf it. So, in this video, we're going to cover the full stats and hidden mechanics, how the fire damage actually works, strengths, weaknesses, and most importantly, how to use this weapon. Let's get into it. The AR-2 Coyote is a primary assault rifle introduced in the Dust Devils Warbond, and it costs 35 medals to unlock. Right away, what makes it different is simple. It fires incendiary rounds. That means that you're not just dealing bullet damage, you're applying burn damage over time. And this completely changes how the weapon plays compared to every other assault rifle in the game. Now let's break down the numbers. The damage is 75 per shot, the fire rate is 600 rounds per minute, the magazine size is 45 rounds, the spare max is 8, the armor penetration is medium, the recoil is moderate and controllable. On paper, that looks solid but not insane. But here's where things get interesting, because the real DPS is higher than it looks because of the fire damage. With the burn included, this weapon pushes well above its base DPS, making it far more lethal than the stats suggest. If you're just looking at numbers, you're underestimating this weapon. This is the entire reason that the Coyote is strong, the fire mechanic. After about 2 to 3 shots, enemies ignite, and once they're on fire, they take damage over time. The burn lasts around a few seconds, and you can stop shooting and move on. This leads to a completely different playstyle. You shoot, you light enemies on fire, you switch targets instead of dumping a whole magazine, killing and reloading. Even more interesting, the fire damage can bypass some armor limitations, meaning that you're still doing meaningful damage even when your bullets aren't ideal. So that's why this weapon feels so efficient. Now, how does this weapon actually play? The AR-2 is not a run and gun spray weapon. It thrives in mid-range combat. Here's the optimal playstyle. Use short bursts or tap fire, ignite targets instead of overcommitting, let burn damage finish enemies, and reposition constantly. In fact, one of the best strategies is to tag multiple enemies quickly, let all of them burn at the same time, and then repeat. This turns the weapon into a crowd control tool and not just a rifle. And if you play it right, you'll notice something. You're killing enemies without actively shooting them. Now, let's talk about what this weapon does well. One, it is extremely well rounded. It has good damage, good magazine size, manageable recoil, and even without any attachments, it's a really good performance. Two, it has fire damage, which equals free DPS. This is the biggest advantage. You are effectively dealing damage while reloading, while moving, while targeting something else, as long as your targets are on fire. 3, this weapon absolutely shines against bots and enemies vulnerable to burn because they continue taking damage even after you stop shooting. 4, it has decent ammo efficiency if you use it correctly. If you're not wasting bullets, you actually use less ammo than you would with other rifles because you're not finishing every kill manually. Now, let's be real, this weapon is of course not perfect. It has weak burst damage because, 600 rounds per minute is relatively slow, which means you won't instantly kill targets. You kind of rely on that damage over time. 2, it struggles against heavy armor because it only has medium penetration. So against heavily armored enemies, you're going to need support weapons. 3, fire isn't universal. Not all enemies care about fire. For example, some enemies take reduced burn damage and others die too fast for the fire to matter. 4, it has limited customization. You can increase the magazine size, and that kind of limits scaling compared to other rifles. Now, when this weapon launched, the reaction was immediate. Players called it the best assault rifle, top tier, S tier, and they even worried it would get nerfed. And honestly, they had a point because the incendiary mechanic gave it a huge edge in real gameplay, especially against bugs. But over time, the consensus shifted. It's not broken, it's just extremely reliable. Some players even argue it only feels strong because other rifles are weaker. So, the best way to describe it is probably as a weapon that is versatile, adaptable, and dependable. Now, if you want to master this weapon, don't dump your magazine into a single target. Use it on a lot of different targets. Um, Use the fire to ignite enemies and then let those enemies burn. You should probably pair it with anti-armor weapons and explosive stratagems. And just basically think of this weapon as sustained pressure, not burst damage. So, is the AR-2 Coyote worth using? Absolutely. It's not the flashiest weapon, it's not the strongest in raw damage, but it's one of the most consistent and efficient weapons in the entire game. And once you learn how to use fire properly, you'll never look at assault rifles the same way again. And that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content and you want to support the channel, there are a few ways that you can help out. First, drop a like on the video and share it with your friends, family, or anyone you think would enjoy it. It really helps the channel grow. Second, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss a future video. And third, if you would like to support me directly, you can do so at allbashgaming.com. In there, you can buy me a coffee, and now you can also rep the channel with your own merch. You can grab your Loot Goblin t-shirt or the classic "It's not a glitch, it's a tech" t-shirt over on my shop. All the links you need are in the description. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. See you in the next ones.